one that fell down earlier and I tried to fix it. Well, say goodbye to the Christmas ornament, everyone.
Hä?
Did you get that? I'm so confused.
Also, ich verstehe nur Bahnhof.
You only understand train station? It's all Greek to me.
Understanding Train Station. Living Between Cultures with Josh and Feli.
Hey guys, this is Feli, and what you just heard and saw was me knocking over one of our Christmas ornaments during the live stream yesterday. In case you were wondering why there was no new episode last week, we decided to combine last week's episode and next week's episode into a special Christmas episode this week, which is usually our off week, but now last week and next week kind of combined into this week. And what makes this episode so special is that we recorded it while being on a live stream yesterday. So we got to interact with you guys, answer questions, and talk about all things Christmas related. We were going to live stream on our Understanding Train Station YouTube channel, but then we realized like half an hour before that we were supposed to activate the live stream feature 24 hours in advance. And of course, we hadn't done that. So we then ended up streaming on my personal YouTube channel instead. So on Feli from Germany. And the stream is saved and it's still up. So if you want to see the stream with the live comments and everything, you can find that on Feli from Germany. And just a disclaimer, of course, it had to happen that I somehow managed not to have my audio recording running for the first 5 minutes or so. So the audio quality sounds, like a potato at first because it's just the built-in mic from the camera. So if you'd rather skip that part, which I totally understand, I'll just put the time code in the description for you so that you know where the good audio quality starts. And then also throughout the episode, my mic sometimes does some weird things where like the audio kind of cuts out and then comes back in. Something must have been wrong with my cord, so I was very lucky with my audio yesterday. But it is what it is, and I think you can still understand what we're saying. And for the most part, the vast majority of the episode has good audio. With that, I hope you enjoy the episode, and Merry Christmas, everyone. Frohe Weihnachten.
Should we go ahead and start officially with a cheers?
Yes, that sounds good. Cheers.
Prost.
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 So we got our
Cheers.
Glühwein. It's really good. In our, of course, Feli from Germany Glühwein mix.
I was going to say a little bit of promotion there.
Maybe, before we get started with the whole topics, we should explain real quick. So we first of all, welcome to the Understanding Train Station podcast. In case you've never checked out the podcast, because I know that not everyone who watches my channel knows of the podcast and watches the podcast.
Exactly.
Or listens to the podcast, because this comes out on our Understanding Train Station YouTube channel and also as an audio version on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. Move my mic a little bit closer. And we usually go live every 2 weeks. And right now everything's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You just traveled to the US.
Yeah.
I have so much going on and we weren't able to do last week's episode. And then I also honestly didn't really want to do next week's episode, but I thought maybe we can just combine the two into one episode in that week that's usually our off week, which is today. Or actually tomorrow, because right now is Wednesday. Usually episodes come out Thursday, but that gives me time to edit this all and then upload it to YouTube or to the audio streaming platforms as well. But basically this is a special Christmas end of the year Understanding Train Station podcast episode with you guys live. So you can interact with us, ask us questions. We have the comments down here on the laptop.
Exactly.
And we'll be recording, so like you guys see everything in phone quality right now, the ones that are watching the live stream, but when we upload it, we have the good audio and video quality. It was just a little too complicated to get everything plugged into the live stream right now. So the mics that you see, you don't actually hear that audio quality right now. I hope you guys can hear us okay. Are they saying anything about audio quality?
I don't see any issues with audio quality so far.
Our AC is still on, or our heat.
I'll turn it off.
In case you missed it, Ben is behind the camera.
I was going to say, someone just asked where is Ben. He's behind the camera.
He's handling everything. I asked him to turn off the central air, which is how American houses do heat. Is the fan set to off or to auto?
Audio is good, they say.
That's weird. Maybe it just takes a second to turn off. Here we go.
Right,
maybe you just heard that. Going from like full blow to off. But anyways, welcome to our podcast episode. We thought today we're going to talk about all things that are going on right now. Christmas, obviously, as you can see by my Christmas outfit. I would give you the hat, but I don't know if that's not in the frame.
You can't see it at the top, but...
The Christmas tree is wearing the second Santa hat that we have. Is it laggy?
No, I don't think. I mean, the video is laggy for us to watch it, but it doesn't matter. Maybe we'll speak some German later in this as well, because someone just asked if we would speak some German for them. But yes, it looks like we have lots of. Someone was wanting to see me spill my Glühwein.
Oh no!
it's very, very likely. I actually think it's Bier.
Hey Ben, I actually have another question for you. Can you maybe also have your phone pulled up and like check the comments?
Yeah.
So that in case we miss something, you can kind of throw it in. Because I can't really see them, unfortunately, the way that we have it set up. But yeah, German would be cool. But yeah, we can talk a little bit about Christmas movies and like traditions, which we already talked about Christmas before, but just like the things that we do this year. And first of all, of course, to get this episode officially started, welcome back to the US, Josh.
Thank you.
How was your trip?
My trip was actually really good. This time I did a slightly different travel plan. So normally I fly directly from Munich to Cincinnati. Well, not directly, but with one layover or two layovers. I wanted to avoid that this time because, first of all, prices from Munich airport were stupid expensive to Cincinnati. And there's actually a direct flight from Cincinnati to Paris. So what I did was I took a train then from Munich.
And from Paris to Cincinnati.
Yeah, Paris to Cincinnati. So I took a train from Munich to Paris on one day and then stayed the night in Paris and then flew from Paris to Cincinnati the other day. It was so nice just to not have to worry about like changing planes. Just got up at a decent time in the morning, went to the airport and then flew here.
And this is me. That's just like seeing the behind the scenes guys. And I'm probably not going to cut this either for the upload. So what I just did is I checked Josh's audio levels because this is such a new setup. And I'm checking my audio levels. Oh fuck, am I not recording or something? I'm not recording. Are you kidding?
It's okay, it's just the beginning. There you go.
It was recording earlier. When did it stop recording? Oh boy. See, be part of how everything goes wrong. Usually now, of course, we would restart. But we're not gonna restart.
But yeah, so as far as travel is concerned, the flight was super, super simple. It's nice to get here. It's funny because whenever I arrive here in the evening, almost every single time my mom asks me, do you want to go out to dinner? And I'm like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. And then we get in the car and then we're like, no, I'm ready to be home. So yeah, basically it's just been relatively chill since I got here. I worked the first 2 days. So getting up early to work German time. Luckily, I wasn't like super jet lagged, or I was jet lagged at the moment.
But what time do you get up?
Like 3.
Oh, that's like, I currently, because I have a pretty heavy workload right now, I've been going to sleep at like 4:35. So like you get up before I go to sleep.
It's interesting when I am in Germany, I'll see like your last scene on
WhatsApp.
And I'm like, oh, she's still up.
Yep.
Which is concerning, but
it'll be done soon. I'm just working on a few things right now.
But all in all, travel was super good. It's weird to be back here. Each time I feel like when I come back to the US, it's just a slightly different experience that you have.
Yeah.
And this time I feel further removed than from the US. Like, because I've spent such a significant part of the last 2 years now in Germany, like the US it's known to me, like it's familiar, but like it's even further away. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Kind of, I think. But like, yeah, interesting, because you were here twice this year, right?
Yeah.
Like this is your third time already.
Like, it doesn't feel foreign per se. It just is like, oh, okay, yeah, this is how we do things in the US. And I don't know. It's always weird for me to get used to interacting with the general public in English again.
Strangers.
Yeah. Like I had to go to Target today and like talking to customer service people in English. I'm like, oh, wait, it's not that it's hard in German, but I'm so used to doing it in German now. And
you need these like wordings and phrases that you usually use.
Exactly. And it's like, wait, I'm so used to speaking English with my friends and family that like, and I'm slightly, as much as customer service at Target is formal, but in a slightly more formal context, it just is weird. Like they're cobwebs and it's,
great.
I didn't spill it.
No, I did. I think
it's okay. I think, yeah.
Hey Ben, can you get me a paper towel? It's a little, we're a little cramped here. So I already threw down 2 things. The good thing is it's all mine. So like if I destroy something, it's on me. But there's not a lot of space right now to move.
No.
But you actually even used to work at Target. So like you
it
should
was
be
funny.
familiar with all of that.
Yeah, I think that's why I was able to, it didn't help me at all. Like there were so many issues with Target today.
Yeah.
But I think because I worked there and I had their positions, like the people that I was speaking with. I hope I had more understanding than your average customer, but still frustrating experience. Trying to get all of the Christmas shopping done. because I didn't bring anything from Germany.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think next year I'll probably try to do that differently, just to have.
Did you just not have like any weight left in your suitcase?
No,
Or
I
any
did.
space?
I just was like, I'll deal with it when I get to
Because that's
Cincinnati.
like usually the nice thing is you can bring people something from the other country, and then like that makes it easier. You can get something from like a Christkindlmarkt or something. And,
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
I was gonna say something about the customer service thing.
Yeah.
When you just said that, it reminded me of like I saw a bunch of TikToks recently where people kind of reenact customer service situations. It's mostly just like Americans complaining about a situation, like they were at work at a restaurant and like someone was being rude to them and they just like reenact the situation, right?
Yeah.
But I saw this one yesterday and it just reminded me again of how special, like specific this customer service language is. Because like in the US, every time they ask you a question, it's always like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Is there anything I can do about that? Or is it just one today?
Yeah.
Or would you like a side of fries today? And it's like, what do you mean today? I'm here right now.
Yeah.
I know I like in the beginning when I first came here, I was always so confused by this, like, why are you asking about today? And it's just a way that they make it sound very polite.
It's actually it's one of the things that actually annoys me. Not necessarily the word today, but like I feel like when you deal with customer service personnel for the most part in the US, their voice goes up at least half an octave.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're singing, and I'm like, you do not
True.
talk like
Yeah.
that. Can you please like just speak normally?
That's true.
But
Yeah,
that's
it's like
something that
it's this protocol that they're
just
playing.
to try to sound friendly or especially friendly.
yeah.
But yeah, what have you been up to?
Working a lot, and I think I've mentioned it on the podcast that I'm staying here for Christmas this year. Yeah, we did mention it because like that's why we were able to record together.
So this is your first Christmas in Cincinnati then, right?
No, it's like my third Christmas in Cincinnati because like the first 2 years I didn't go home for Christmas.
Okay.
2016 and no wait, yeah, 2016 and 2017 I was here.
When you were doing your exchange.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then the year after when I was doing my internship and stuff.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely gonna have to FaceTime my family on Christmas Eve, of course. And of course, once I'm done with all the workload, I'm gonna be watching Sissy and do some like Christmas traditions, German Christmas traditions. I have I actually could have brought that here. We have a lot of Lebkuchen still left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from my integration with
I don't think I've
Lebkuchen Schmidt.
Okay. I don't think I've had any Lebkuchen this season.
Do you like German Lebkuchen?
I do like it, but it's not like something that I crave.
Yeah.
I don't.
Me either, honestly. I like don't crave it, but when it's there, I'll eat it.
Yeah. When you have like a nice spread of Christmas cookies, I will have some.
It's like definitely a good match with Glühwein and also like Spekulatius and those kind of things. It reminds me of home for sure. Because like, especially over Christmas, a lot of people would come over for like Kaffee und Kuchen. Or even around like other times of the year. But I feel like in the winter and Christmas time when relatives or old friends would come over to my parents' place for coffee and cake, that's what my mom at least would put out is like little arrangement of cookies and Lebkuchen and like light the Advent wreath and tea and stuff like that.
So cozy.
Yeah, it reminds me of like a cozy atmosphere. Do we have any questions yet?
I was going to say, I think we should look through some of these questions.
Yes.
If you guys have been asking questions further on in the chat, you might want to re-ask them just so we see them. But
I was also just thinking we could probably oh gosh. I hope
what am I doing wrong, Phoebe?
I hope that it's not because I spilled the Glühwein. Oh yeah, it is because fuck. Yes, we get to curse on this podcast. Fuck. You're kidding me.
Do you have a... Okay, it's a touch screen anyway.
You're kidding me.
Oh, okay, so we're going to... Can you read it from that angle?
I can, but then people can't hear me. I'm thinking maybe you can pull it up on your phone.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because then you have it closer.
That's a great idea.
But yeah, guys, I thought that the little spill of Glühwein wasn't bad at all. Because it was just so little, but I think it went underneath my trackpad on my laptop.
Fun.
Fun!
Let's see. Feli from Germany. There we are. Okay. So they can still hear us, so that's a... Someone commented that they said hoopala, which I've been saying a lot lately.
Whoopsie daisy.
So... Will you watch Dinner for One on New Year's Eve?
Yes. I don't know what our plans are for New Year's Eve yet, but
yeah.
Yes, that is definitely going to be part of the plan.
I won't. I'll be with my...
Like
I mean, it's not that I don't like it. It's just not a thing that I would do, and I'll be with family. So it's not a thing. So I don't think they would really enjoy watching it. If there were no quote-unquote restrictions, would you switch your home countries? So would Josh live in Germany and Feli in the US? If yes, what would the reasons be?
What do you mean by restrictions?
Yeah, I don't quite understand that question, but I think if you could choose, would you prefer to be born in the US or Germany?
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know if that's actually what they're asking, but that would be...
I think I'd still prefer being born in Germany because I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, like I don't have like a reason that I would want to be born in the US.
Yeah. I don't know how I would answer that question. I think there are things that I like about being American. Yeah. But like I said, I feel this time like more disconnected from the US.
That's actually very interesting. Maybe, I don't know if we should go back to that because you know how I usually say that over time for me it got better. So like I had pretty big culture shock and reverse culture shock in the beginning. Mostly reverse culture shock actually, because like first you have that initial culture shock and then I had a really bad reverse culture shock the first time I went back to Germany. And then the next few times it was still there, but the more I traveled back and forth, the slimmer the difference was. And now like for the last, I don't know, couple or 3 years, I haven't really noticed you know, big adjustment periods. So I'm actually, that's interesting that you kind of say it's stronger this time.
I wouldn't use the term reverse culture shock.
But it feels unfamiliar.
It's not that it feels unfamiliar. It's just like, oh, this is different. And like, I don't know what if I like it. Yeah. I think coming back to Cincinnati in the winter is nice with Christmas. Yeah. But it's so gray.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, I remember when I used to live here thinking, wow, it's like really gray. But now I think since I live in a relatively green part of town in Munich, have nature close by.
Yeah.
And
we also have the Christmas markets, like lots of lights and lots of stuff going on.
And here, I just feel like it's a gray jungle.
It's kind of true.
And concrete. And you can ask my mom, I hate strip malls. And I drive by
you mentioned that on the podcast before.
And there are so many. And I don't know. It's just like things that I'm like, I don't... Like, I think I mentioned on the podcast that I was really feeling homesick around Thanksgiving. Yeah. And I'm really happy to be back here with my family and see some friends here. Yeah. But, like, as far as homesickness of wanting to live in Cincinnati, not really feeling that right now. I don't know if that makes sense. Because it's not reverse culture shock. It's just feeling of... I don't even know how I would describe it. It's weird. Let's see...
I feel like I'm a little monkey like bending down there. I was just trying to check my laptop again. Do you have a question?
You want to use my phone?
Sure.
Someone asked, is Munich warmer than Cincinnati? I would say generally the temperatures are pretty comparable. Yeah. I think it was colder in Munich before I came here, and now I think it'll be colder here.
Yeah, because we're going to have like a blizzard, basically. Yeah. Does it have to be charging?
It's almost dead.
Okay, I can't really grab that. Ben is just handing me his phone so that, yeah, that's not really.
So someone asked, what does train station mean?
Okay.
Do you want to explain that, Feli?
So, yes.
Because I know there are probably quite a few people, I was going to say there are quite a few people here probably who don't know the podcast or at least not super familiar with it. And the name is confusing.
It is confusing. So welcome to all the newbies, first of all. Welcome to the podcast. This is a very special episode. So the name of the podcast comes from a German idiom that goes, Ich verstehe nur Bahnhof. Or more colloquially, Ich verstehe nur Bahnhof. And that basically translates to... It's all Greek to me, or I'm completely lost, I don't understand anything. But literally, it means it's all train station to me. Which, of course, makes no sense in other languages, but that's kind of where this is based on. And our little, call it a subtitle, is called Living Between Cultures. Yeah. So understanding train station, living between cultures. And we thought it would be a really cool title for the podcast because it basically stands for being lost in a situation, not understanding something, which of course, when you live in another country and culture, that's something that you'll inevitably experience. But yeah, that's kind of what our podcast is also there for, is like to help that a little bit, to like help people not be so lost.
Yeah, and I think just trying through our experiences and the experiences of the guests that we interview, our friends, and just random people that we interview, kind of, how would you say that in English?
How would you say it in
Näher
German? Näher bringen.
Like just introducing kind of
Yeah.
some topics that, especially like for me growing up in the Midwest, I wasn't really exposed to too much about living abroad. And I think just putting that out on a platform for people to access if they're interested in what it's like to live abroad and outside of your home country and be in these weird situations that you don't experience when you live in your home country. I think that was kind of the idea of Ich verstehe nur Bahnhof, or understanding train station, and like we said, living between cultures. Just putting that out there for people to be able to learn from our experiences and kind of join us on the journey.
One of the motivations for us to start the podcast was also that I had Josh on my channel a couple times and people really liked it. And we also just noticed, or we just knew from our private lives anyways, that we can talk about these topics forever. But for YouTube, like a normal YouTube channel, like this channel that you're on right now, Feli from Germany, that's just like not really a format that I want to put out there all the time, where it's just like a 2-hour long conversation. Yeah. You want to try and like cut it down and make it look a little bit more professional. So I thought this would be like a cool way or a cool format for a podcast where people are used to just listening to like people labern in German, like just babbling and talking and rambling on. So yeah, that's kind of how the idea came about, is that people really, really liked you on my channel and wanted to have you back. And I did have you back, but then we thought, what about we just like make this our own thing? And of course, another reason for the name is also, I think we were pretty set on using one of those German idioms translated into English, because we find that funny. A lot of Germans find that funny too. I think Americans are mostly lost about it, but there's like a lot of German idioms that people tend to literally translate into English. And it's really funny if you know where it comes from. Yeah. For example, you go me on the cookie. Yeah. Or which means like you're getting on my nerves.
I think I'm trying to remember if it was the first video that we ever recorded together for your channel. If I said, again, what learned.
Yeah, again, example. What learned, wieder was gelernt. Or that's not quite the yellow from the egg. That's like not the, how do you even translate that? The best of the...
Yeah, the creme de la creme.
The creme de la creme, yeah.
Translating it into English for
another idiom in French.
But
All right.
I'm trying to see if there's... Someone asked, have you been to any Bavarian-style American towns like Frankenmuth,
Not
Michigan?
Yet. Have you? No, right?
I haven't, no.
Me either. It's just like, I have had that on my travel list for a while, but... Other stuff that's kind of cooler sounding always comes up, and then I'm just like, I haven't made it there yet. And to be completely honest with you guys, it's not something that I like, it's not at the top of my bucket list. Yeah. It's not like, oh my God, I need to go to these towns. I know they exist. I'm kind of assuming they're probably going to be a little
tacky,
artificial. Yeah, a little tacky.
I feel like it would feel like Disney World.
So is that something that I need to go to as a German? I mean, to judge it, sure, I can judge it. Is it something that I long for? Not really, because I can just go home and like have the real thing. So like, why,
I think it would make for a good like video, but not necessarily.
For sure, and that's what I was thinking.
I don't think it would be something necessarily that like you said that you're craving for. Or it wouldn't satisfy that feeling of like, oh, I want to be back in Bavaria.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's what I'm assuming. Who knows? Maybe it'll be all different when I'm actually there. But as of right now, I kind of think that, as you said, they're kind of probably a little bit Disney worldy.
Yeah, just like amusement park feeling.
Yeah.
Cream of the cream, someone said.
Okay, let me also try.
Yeah, look at
there's so much. Good slide into the new year. Yeah, that's another one of those idioms like Guten Rutsch ins Neue Jahr. Slide good over. Rutsch gut rüber.
Oh God, that's horrible. There's some very interesting comments that just make you wonder what people were thinking.
I don't think anyone has asked this question.
Yeah.
But I know how Feli feels about it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the Christmas pickle?
The Christmas pickle, okay. So I don't know if you guys heard that, but Ben asked about how does Josh feel about the Christmas pickle?
This is the question of all questions.
Well, did you guys do that tradition?
It's not something that we did growing up. But my mom did do it like 1 or 2 years. And it's nice. It's not anything that like I get too excited about though. I think because I didn't grow up with it. I don't know. Holidays and Christmas are like very much based off of the traditions that you grew up with, I think. And since I didn't grow up with it, I'm like, this is kind of weird, especially knowing that it's not a true German tradition. But yeah, now I'm interested what Ben thinks. But
he grew up with the Christmas pickle.
Oh, you did?
I was the youngest, so I'd always hide it. and
Okay.
I forget where I put it. And if I did a really good job, I wouldn't find it until like the year after.
Okay.
So for those of you watching and listening that don't know what the Christmas pickle is, I think we should explain real quick.
Yeah.
It's usually an ornament, and it's an American tradition, but people think it's German, or at least I don't know if they do it in other countries too, but like here, especially in the Midwest, a lot of families, especially of German ancestry, do this tradition where they have this pickle ornament, they hide it in the
Yeah.
tree, and then the first child that finds it gets, I think, an extra gift or something like that. And they believe that it's an old German tradition, which I've heard different theories about it. There was like one person that said, oh, but in this little village, they actually do that. But most Germans have never heard of that in their lives. And it's like
Yeah.
not something that you'll find in any traditional books, or, you know, there's no reference to the Christmas pickle in any old poems or songs or anything like that. So
However, I did see, and maybe you've mentioned this before, but this was the first year that I got to experience Christmas markets during the Christmas season. And they were selling Christmas pickles at the Munich.
I did see that too somewhere online, and I'm
Christmas
not quite
market.
sure if that's because they've heard of it, like because
Yeah.
it's now become like a thing, or maybe the pickle ornaments have always been a thing. I've never seen like a household that
Yeah.
actually had a pickle ornament though, but like maybe they were a thing without the game behind it. So I'm not quite sure. I feel like nobody really knows. Like whenever I talk to, you know, historians and experts about it, there's like always different answers. So there doesn't seem to be the one true answer. Someone said something like, ich verstehe nur Bahnhof hat eine traurige Herkunft, vielleicht
Ja.
nicht der beste Titel für einen Weihnachtspodcast. So Understanding Train Station, or that idiom, has a kind of a sad origin, which we talked about
Yeah.
origins in one of our episodes. I'm going to link that later when we post the episode. And so the person said maybe it's not the best title for a Christmas podcast. It's the title of our whole podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not just the episode.
Yeah, so this podcast comes out every other week, usually on Thursdays, over on the other YouTube channel, Understanding Train Station. And yeah, that's just
But yeah, I mean-
the normal title, not just the Christmas title.
Let's see. What's my favorite Weihnachtsmarkt so far?
Yeah.
I mean, I've only been to a couple in Munich.
Mm-hmm.
The one at Marienplatz, which is like truly the city center, was really overcrowded.
Oh, yeah.
And
Did it get
then-
any better? Because I know we talked about it after the first weekend.
Yeah, it was a little better.
Okay.
And then I've been to the one at Wittelsbacher Platz.
Oh, is that the Mittelalter?
Like the middle-aged version.
I love that one.
It was really nice. I like that too, but it was also pretty crowded. I also went to Pink Christmas, which was nice. I went to Pink Christmas during the week, so it wasn't as crowded, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so
Okay.
much. But I don't know if I have a favorite at this point. I haven't been enough to truly have a favorite.
What Christmas?
It's called Pink Christmas.
Oh, they said paint Christmas.
No.
Paint? Pink Christmas. Please show Ben and Josh Ekel Alfred's Silvester Punch.
Do you know this?
No, I do
Okay,
not.
I have no clue what that is. Let's see. We have to give us some question. What are some German dialects? I don't know. We have actually on the podcast, so I'm guessing some of these questions are from people who don't follow the podcast closely, which is perfectly fine. But we do a dialect series,
Yeah.
where you can send us a version of however you speak, be it in English or German with your native accent or dialect, and then we try to guess where you're from based off of the way that you speak. So
In
there-
German and in English.
In German and in English. So if you guys are interested in dialects, we don't do a deep dive into the dialects, but you can at least hear some different dialects and see us try to figure out what they are.
Yeah.
It's the series we call it Y'all Talk Funny, right?
Yes. Or is it Y'all Talk Funny? Because
I
the first
think
time
the first
I
one
think we
is
did it
Y'all
wrong.
Speak,
Yeah.
and then to make it even more country sweat, we said Y'all Talk.
I can't really see any like. Okay, Feli, did you bake any Weihnachtskekse, so Plätzchen? No, haven't had any time yet, but I might do that still whenever I do have time. Question for Ben: how do you think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to do the rest of the season? Ooh, I don't know if you can answer, but you're also like not really on the mic, so like.
You can. They're wanting to see you. If you want to
Yeah,
come
you
say
can
hi
come
at
over.
least, and that way you'll be closer to the mic.
But don't knock over another Christmas
Am I
ornament.
even there?
Yeah, you'll
man.
show up in
I
a
can't even
second.
see myself. It's lagging.
Yeah.
The Bengals are winning the Super Bowl. We're not choking in the Super Bowl this year. We're on a good roll. And who day?
That's his answer.
We're gonna get the first seed in the AFC.
All right. if you go on the space station, you can get a Christmas pickle from the tube toilet when I'm so confused with some of these comments.
Yeah, they're very interesting.
About the earnest.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm thinking like maybe it's better if you read the comments because you can actually read them while I'm like trying to talk.
Yeah, otherwise we're sitting here.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why that was my first suggestion. I put the power bank over there.
Someone asked if I've ever been to Ulm. No, I haven't.
Ulm is another city wait, no, it's not in Bavaria, it's in Baden-Württemberg.
Have you been?
No.
Okay.
The Ernest, so we have actually 4 stockings on the fireplace. You can't see them all right now.
It's your baby.
It's, I had a child. No, it's our cat. We have 2 cats, and they both got a stocking too. So we have a stocking for Feli, Ben, Izzy, and Ernest, which we usually just call him Ern, so like the short version. But yeah, that's the cat. Maybe I have another question. Like, what are going to be your Christmas traditions now that you're here? Like, what are the things that you're excited for? That you're definitely going to do?
Yeah. Last night, my family got together and we built gingerbread houses.
Nice. That's a good one.
I mean, we don't bake the gingerbread ourselves.
You buy these kits, right?
Yeah, you can buy a kit. And I was talking in Germany. I had a team event with my team from work, and we baked Christmas cookies. And like I think that's
Plätzchen or okay.
And I feel like that's a very, very German thing to do is to get together and bake Christmas cookies. We do that with sugar cookies in the U.S., I would say, too, or decorating gingerbread men. But I brought up the question to my German coworkers if they do gingerbread houses. And they're like, no, not really. And that's something that my family does most years, I would say. We try to have like one family event before Christmas to like get excited for Christmas. And this year, because it's been cold out and there was a lot going on, we just decided to get together and do the gingerbread houses. And we did a competition, boys versus girls in the family. So that was really fun. I'm trying to think what else we do. We normally have Christmas Eve together and Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, we normally just get together and have dinner and then open up some presents.
Oh, okay. Do the kids open up presents too on Christmas Eve?
Or we open up presents every day.
Did Santa already bring them? Or
no, it's normally just like family presents.
Okay. So they know that they're coming from Uncle Josh.
Exactly. The way that I was raised, we had some like gifts from family, and then Santa would bring gifts on Christmas morning.
Okay.
So like it's a little confusing, but we had the tree in another room, so everything that was under the tree was normally from the family.
Okay.
And everything that was on the hearth or like near the fireplace was from Santa.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know. We watch movies.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely watch White Christmas. We'll watch It's a Wonderful Life, and we'll watch The Holiday. Those are like the three.
Watch all those.
Those are the 3 main Christmas movies that my family watches. You haven't seen any of them?
I don't think so. Ben, what did we watch last year?
I tried to watch Christmas Vacation, but she fell asleep.
Okay. I've actually never seen it.
Sorry.
Great. Here's a question, Josh. Where did it just go? Oh, and it doesn't have to do with Christmas, but in what ways do you think you will never become fully Germanized?
That's a very good question. I like that question.
That's like
Props to the person asking that.
That's a question that
Now
you need prep for.
Now we have to think about it for an hour.
What are some ways that I think I will never be fully Germanized?
Yeah.
That's a really hard question.
Convenience?
I don't know. I don't even know where to begin tackling that question.
I'm trying to think because like you are very Germanized, and so like I think that's why it's so hard. Because like punctuality, 100% Germanized. Rules, I feel like
I'm a pretty big rule follower.
Germanized, yeah. But like you were kind of already like that before you went over there, so like. But I'm trying to think like, what about ice and drinks?
See, I've become pretty Germanized in that regard too. The thing is, I've become so German.
What about sparkling water?
Yeah, I drink sparkling water as well.
All right, I think you're officially a German.
The only thing that I can think of is like, I don't know, but with the younger generation, it's not even this way, but like the being fully comfortable with talking to someone in Z, like in the formal register as opposed to the familiar, like that's just weird.
That feels uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable to me sometimes. It depends on who. Because like if it's a really like significantly older person than myself, then it's normal. And if it's like a cashier at the store, definitely normal. Like I would not just use the do with them. But there are situations where you're not quite sure because like the person isn't that much older than you, but like, do they want to be addressed into the formal? Yeah.
I think maybe I will always make small talk. I think that's probably the thing that I would say that is the least German about me, is I feel very comfortable making small talk with people, even if it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I kind of like to play around with it and make people uncomfortable.
Did you mention that about your job? I
Yeah.
don't know if that was on the podcast.
Yeah,
I think so. Where you said that like you kind of throw people off with like a wie geht's in like, even though you're cold calling people so they don't know you've never talked to them before, and then you'll just ask them like, how are they doing? And that's not a thing that we do in Germany.
I had a really good call the other day. I called some random person. He wasn't completely random. I called him and I asked how he was doing. I said, wie geht's? And he said, gerade sehr schlecht. And like I could tell like he was trying
Which means not very bad right now.
Yeah, and like I could tell like there was a little bit of joking in his voice, like he just was trying to mess with me because I asked a stupid question. And then at the end of the call, like it was actually a really nice call, and despite the fact that he said he was having a bad day, we had a nice exchange. And then at the end I said, well, I hope you continue to have a horrible day.
Oh boy.
But he laughed and it was good.
Yeah, good.
But
yeah, Germans, I mean, I think that's like an sarcastic answer is probably like one of the more common things that you'll get to that question, because people are going to be like, well, what do you want to hear from me? Do you want to hear like my full life story? Because that's kind of usually what Germans will do when they ask each other how they're doing. How about like bedding, like beds?
I'm very German.
Really? You like two different mattresses?
Oh, no, not two different mattresses.
Okay.
No.
Two different
as
covers?
far as, no, not even that. Okay.
What
I mean is not having a sheet, like just having the duvet and the duvet cover.
Okay.
That's when I'm here. I never make my bed because it just takes so long.
So is that what your family does? They have sheets and then a blanket? Okay. Because I know that some people also in the US have duvets and duvet covers.
Yeah, they'll have that, but I would say in most houses, at least in the Midwest, you'll have a sheet as well. You have a sheet, and then you'll have either a comforter or like a duvet with a duvet cover on it.
Was that weird for you, Ben? Because we just have a duvet cover and a duvet, like German style.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
And but you before we moved in together, you just had like a comforter without a sheet too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But now the idea of a comforter is kind of like nasty.
Gross, yeah.
I mean, where you never changed the.
You wash
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah, I
thing,
wash the whole
but
thing.
still, do you do that a lot? Is the question. But okay, hold on. Back to the bed situation.
Yes.
So you prefer one big mattress over two twin mattresses pushed
Doesn't make
together,
sense.
and like one big blanket.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Same. That doesn't make sense.
Well, it keeps the
How
warmth
about
in.
the traditional German pillows, the square ones?
I have one of those, and I'm quite happy with it.
Wow!
was
He's
gonna
more
say-
German than I am. I've never had one of those, and I never liked those.
Someone just commented a really funny
What did they say?
comment. They were like, "You're Germanized if you sit down."
That is the answer. Yes, I would never do that.
Oh,
Never.
okay, here
I
we
would
go.
not. I am not a Sitzpinkler. I'm not. I am not, and I never will be.
I mentioned that topic again in a recent video in September, I think it was, or October maybe. And every time I mention that topic, it just triggers so many Americans. And so many Germans will also then say, because I'll kind of say, for context, I should explain, in case you didn't watch my videos, shame on you. In Germany, it's relatively common for men to sit down to pee. Now, to explain, not necessarily in public bathrooms, like there's going to be urinals in public bathrooms, and not always, but especially if you're visiting someone else's house, it's kind of considered polite. And also many men do it at their own home because they don't want to cause a mess. And it's like often in relationships and families kind of agreed upon that at home they sit down to pee. And so like every time I say like, oh, it's pretty common in Germany for men to sit down to pee, a lot of Germans will also get worked up and be like, no, that's not true. Like, I never do it. And it's like, okay, sure. First of all, I wasn't really talking about peeing in public because like I understand that's just something nobody wants to do, like sit down in public. Women don't want to do that either. We just squat. But at home, there is actually studies or surveys, not studies, it's just like surveys, where it shows that about 60% of all German men do sit down to pee at home. And I mean, people have like little signs where it says, please sit down in their bathrooms, or like even sometimes in public bathrooms, there will be a sign where it basically has like a man standing up peeing and it's like crossed out. It's like forbidden.
I think one thing that annoys me is people say it's not hygienic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It splashes.
Yeah, it might splash a bit, but no one's going to get sick from that. Yeah, it's a little dirty. And
Yeah, you just have to clean more.
I remember my neighbors, here in the US growing up, they had a sign in their bathroom that said, "If you sprinkle when you tinkle, be a sweetie, wipe the seedy."
Yeah.
And I think that's the motto that you need to go by if you're going to pee standing up.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a little cleaner, but I don't know if hygienic is necessarily the word that
I
would
have
use.
heard that it's healthier apparently, but I'm not an expert in that. But apparently, like for your prostate or something, it's like apparently like anatomically. No, how? What's that?
Anatomically.
Anatomically.
You chose a hard word.
I really tried. Like I think you can basically squeeze more pee out, which yes, I know, fun topic. Sorry about that. But I've read that somewhere that apparently it has health perks, advantages. But whether that's true or not, I don't know. But either way, it's just something that's considered kind of polite, especially if you're visiting and the bathroom has a sign or the person specifically says, "Hey, please sit down," which is something that Germans will say sometimes. Yeah, you're supposed to do it. But okay, so I guess Josh isn't completely on the dark side yet.
I don't think I'll be allowed to get a German passport if that were ever possible.
The citizenship test is going to be like, do you sit down to pee? Do you drink sparkling water? And
They'll send someone from the Ordnungsamt to
You're going to be sitting there
follow you.
sweating. You're going to be like, oh gosh. But I can't lie because Germans don't lie either. So like, what do I do?
Some people were asking who I am.
Okay.
Should we explain that?
We'll reintroduce him. This is Josh. Yeah, I guess
Hello,
we didn't
everyone.
really introduce you.
Yeah.
Josh and I have been friends for about 6 years at this point.
Crazy.
He's from Cincinnati and now lives in Munich. I'm from Munich and now live in Cincinnati. But we met when he still lived in Cincinnati. He was part of the University of Cincinnati German Club, and that's how we met. And we've just been friends ever since, kind of part of like a friend group, like German friend group here in Cincinnati with other Germans that lived here or people that were half American, half German, or just people that had been to Germany before and really wanted to practice their German, stuff like that. And we just stayed connected over the years. And then almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. He moved to Germany. We started this podcast when he still lived in Cincinnati, and we didn't even know yet that you were going to move to Germany for sure. But now he lives in Munich.
Yeah, which is really crazy. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe for you guys to have a little bit background of why I was like, Cincinnati is a very German part of the U.S. as far as people that have German heritage. So German was offered at my high school, and I have German heritage, so I was interested in trying to connect a little bit more with that. So I started learning German in high school.
And you had a really good teacher, which, by the way, we have an episode with his teacher. Watch that episode. It's amazing. Yeah,
I was really, really fortunate to have an amazing teacher. She's from Germany, and I was always I don't know, I just found it super interesting, and it just clicked with me. Like, it was something that I really enjoyed, learning German, learning about the culture, learning the language. And it just brought me a lot of joy. So I continued to do that. And at UC, the University of Cincinnati, where Feli and I met, I also studied German studies along with another major. And it just kind of stayed a part of my life. And that's why I started to be a part of the German club. And that's how we met. And throughout my career, then I was always working at that's a very German way of saying it. I was always working. I've always worked at German companies, and was back and forth between Germany a lot, and the opportunity presented itself to move to Munich. So I took it, and that's how I ended up there.
And now we live in each other's hometowns.
And that's the crazy thing too. When we started the podcast, I wasn't even planning.
You were kind of in conversation with another company. I think you would have gone to Düsseldorf. Yeah. But that didn't end up working out.
Exactly.
And so, definitely like Munich wasn't really on the
radar.
Yeah, on the radar.
In the cards.
Also one thing about Josh that some of you might know, others might not know, is that he was able to continue that German learning journey to a point where he really became fluent without living in Germany, which is something that not a lot of people are able to achieve. You just like stuck with it so much.
Yeah.
And his German sounds like the German of a native speaker. And I have a video up on my channel, and this was before you moved to Germany. Yeah. That was
I can use that as proof when people don't believe me that I...
It's true, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That was in 2020, I believe.
Yeah, it would make sense.
And so like he really, I mean, except for like very minor little things, 100% passes for a native speaker. There's always going to be like a little, little accent glitch here and there, just like for me. Even less, I think, for him than it is for me in English. But like, there's always going to be little parts where if you listen really, really closely, you can tell he's not a native speaker. But if you are not paying attention to it, you would 100% think that he's from Germany, probably particularly from Munich or Bavaria, like southern Germany, because that's kind of your influence.
I think it really depends on who's listening, because some people, I think I have a good ear for accents, so there are things that you'll say that I'll pick up, like, okay, yeah, that's really close, but not quite how Americans would say it. And I think if you have a good ear, you'll hear pretty quickly that I'm not German.
Yeah.
But what most Germans think is I'm from a different part of Germany than
Right.
where they're from.
That's what most Americans think when they hear me talk for the first time, especially like, we had this the other day again. Like, we meet new people, right? We went to SantaCon, which is also why I have these hats, which is like this big Santa pub crawl here in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And it was with Katie and like a bunch of other friends, and we were in the Uber with like 2 people that we hadn't met before. And I guess they didn't know I was German, which usually like everyone kind of already knows that.
Yeah.
But we were talking about something, and then at some point I think we were talking about what we do for a living. And then I brought up, I'm from Germany. And then this one guy, he was sitting in the front seat, I was sitting in the back seat. He was like, oh, now it makes sense. And that's usually the reaction that I get. They're like, I thought that you had somewhat of an influence there, somewhat of an accent, but I couldn't pinpoint it.
Yeah.
And apparently also wasn't strong enough for them to ask or anything. It's like something where people are like, hold on. They're kind of thrown off by it.
I had a funny experience recently. I was at a housewarming party in Munich, and there was a Scottish guy there, and he could speak some German, but like it was obvious that it wasn't his native language, and we switched to English we were speaking English when someone else came to the group, and then we were speaking for a while, and then the Scottish guy left, and then we switched back to German, and I don't know, we were introducing ourselves, and she just was very confused by me because then we started speaking German and just were having regular conversation. I said, I'm going back to the US, and she's like, like, are you from there? And I say, yes. She said, when did your parents move there? I'm like, no, I'm from the US. Like I'm American.
That's actually a good guess, because like that's totally what it could be too, that you're a German that has been living in the US for so long that your German got lost a little bit, because that happens. Like one time I met someone, this was actually at UC, that just started speaking German to me out of nowhere. It was like an a cappella event or something.
Okay.
So I was like sitting in an audience kind of thing, but like in Zimmer Hall, I think.
Yeah.
And this person, or were you there with me? I don't remember who was with me. Anyways, this person starts talking to me in German, but like with a really heavy accent, but says he's German.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? And then he said, I've just been living here since I was 10. And I was like, oh, wow. Like you really lost your accent.
Yeah.
Like he did not sound like a native speaker anymore, which honestly, that's something that is a pretty big goal of mine, never to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because that happens to a lot of people when they move abroad. And it happens to us a little bit, that we both kind of lose the feeling for a native language sometimes, or like you'll be like, hold on, how do you say that in English? I can only come up with the German word. And that happens to me, vice versa.
Happened earlier in this.
Exactly. But I think accent-wise, and just like once you are used to once you're in the country again and you're surrounded by the language again, we're back to normal.
Yep.
And I always want it to be like that. And that's just a big goal of mine. So I'm always going to try and have German incorporated into my life.
Yeah.
Whether that's talking to my friends and family or like watching movies and stuff like that.
I think as a native English speaker, it's less likely to happen because English is the global language.
It's everywhere.
When you're with a group of people that don't share the same language, people speak English. So it's not like I go really long periods of time without speaking English.
But no, say your but first, because I know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but I will say, I noticed my accent changed slightly. Like I'll enunciate a lot more unconsciously or subconsciously.
Yeah.
In Germany, and then when I get back to the US,
probably because you're among non-native speakers, and you have to speak a little bit more clearly.
I don't think I have to,
but it's like something that you tend to do if you want non-native speakers to understand you, right? It's just something that people do.
I avoid certain idioms, or I just speak a little more crisply.
Yeah.
I think I'm speaking probably right now like the way that I would speak with my friends in Germany. But like when I'm around my family, I realize like I think the best way I can describe it is like I have a little bit more of a whip in my accent in the sense
what does
of like
that mean?
I don't pronounce the consonants as strongly.
So we actually just recorded a video, Ben and I did, and we talked about literally the other day, 2 days ago or so. We had the situation, and I was like, I have to remember this. I have to tell this on the podcast. I have to tell this on a video. Where like I was loading the dishwasher, because yes, language barriers are still there sometimes, and misunderstandings still happen sometimes. I was loading the dishwasher, and I said, I think we need to run this. And he said, I think I already put a pot in there. And I was like, I looked, and I was like, there was 3 big cooking pots in there. And I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, like, okay. I didn't understand what that had to do with us running. I was like, yeah cool. And I like went on and he was like, no, like check the thing. Like, is there a pod in there? Like a dish soap pod?
Like a little pod that you put.
And that's like something that will happen.
Yeah.
And that's like, that reminds me because we were talking about how for that word, if you, like, you can just drop the ending.
Yeah.
Pot, like.
Do you put a pod?
Pod. Yeah,
I
you
don't
don't
know.
even really pronounce it.
I think
that makes
when you
it
just
for
get
me
speaking
as a
quickly.
non-native speaker. That makes it difficult for me to hear the difference.
Yeah, I think I've told the story before too, where I was in the U.S. on vacation and I sent a voice message to one of my friends in Germany, to Letty, and she responded, "Oh my gosh, Josh, you sound so American." And I think that's what she meant is when I speak more naturally with other Americans, it's just like, I don't know, it's a little bit more mumbled.
Right.
But yeah. I don't know how we got on that topic.
Me either. I'm just currently trying to remember.
Questions
yes.
That people have queued up to circle back around to Christmas.
Yes.
What are your guys' favorite Christmas carols? And I'm going to add a little extra to that. Do you prefer them in German or English? Because I know a lot of the English Christmas carols that we grew up with are also
German songs.
Like originally
I think
originally,
so,
yeah. I mean, like Silent Night, for example, is originally German. I'm pretty sure.
And I think O Christmas Tree as well. O Tannenbaum. Do I have a favorite?
What was the question?
Do I have a favorite Christmas carol?
Okay.
Do you prefer them in German?
Okay, I can answer that.
Go
You
for
want
it.
me to go first? I definitely prefer the German ones. I think in terms of like it feeling like Christmas Eve. It's kind of weird. Like English Christmas songs, I love them and I listen to them in the Christmas season.
Yeah.
But then for Christmas Eve, it has like whenever I hear a German Christmas carol, it gives me that calm, like holy feeling. Like this, okay, we're like as together as a family, like the Christmas stress is over. Whereas like the English ones, to me, from my experience, just because probably that's how I grew up, that's like Christmas season, but that's the crazy Christmas season. That's like, you know, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. That's not something that we would sing by the tree.
Yeah.
And my favorite one, I'm trying to think, is like, I think my favorite one is almost a Bavarian one. I think it's Es wird schon gleich dumper, which is a
What is
Bavarian
dumper?
one. Dunkel.
Okay.
But I really like a lot of them. I really like Silent Night. I really like Ihr Kinderlein kommet. I don't know. There's like
Okay. Yeah, I don't know a lot of German ones, to be honest. I mean, I know Stille Nacht.
Right.
And I know O Tannenbaum.
Is there O Fröhliche in English?
How does it go?
O Fröhliche. O...
No. Not that I know of.
Okay.
But I think for me, I know what you're talking about when you're talking about like the calm of like, that still comes for me in English though. But I think what you're referring to is more of like the commercial Christmas songs that are a little bit more stressful, like Jingle Bells. I don't even know if I would call that necessarily a Christmas carol.
Yeah, it's not
but
a carol.
I really like.
True. Okay, maybe I interpreted that question a little bit
What was the one
wrong.
that we were listening to the other day that we started to actually listen to the lyrics and we were like,
Oh, Santa Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like,
See,
wow,
but
that's
are
a
like,
sexual song.
For me, those are Christmas songs. They're not
That's
Christmas
true.
carols.
Okay, I got that question a little bit
But
wrong.
like, I think my favorite Christmas carols are O Come Emmanuel.
What is that?
O come, Emmanuel,
See, I don't think I
and
know that.
ransom captive Israel.
Maybe
you don't know
I've
it?
heard. I don't think so, but it's definitely possible that I've heard it before and just don't recognize it.
But I think the reason why they bring so much like calm is because they are religious church songs.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, the melodies tend to be the same for the most part. I mean, they
Yeah.
are the same. But I like that, and I'm trying to think what the other one is. I can't remember the name of it, and I can't remember the lyrics either. But there's another one that I like as well. If it comes to me, I'll say so.
Just like, okay, I like this one song and the other one.
But I think I prefer them. I like the German versions of them as well, but I think because I grew up with the English,
I think that's just what it is. It's just,
there's
it
more
brings
connection.
back all these traditions and memories, and it makes you just feel like a little kid, and it's Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and you're just excited. And
I also like Silver Bells. That
don't
wasn't
know
the
that
song
one.
I was thinking of. Yeah.
now please sing.
I don't know.
Sing it, Ben.
I don't know.
I don't want to sing it because
Okay.
But to kind of feed off that, the Christmas thing, more so, well, it's actually for both of you all. Do you prefer the real German tree, the real German Christmas tree, or the fake
American tree.
American tree.
Well, I think
You can answer
I
first.
think you have to go take that a step further. And you prefer the German style of Christmas trees or the American style of Christmas
Well, actually,
trees?
when do you set your Christmas tree up?
Normally the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Like your family, or did
Yeah.
you do it in your apartment too?
We would have done it in my apartment, but no one was home, so people were traveling, and we
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to somewhat do it together. So
Okay.
I waited until.
Do you have
way
a
more
Christmas
people-
tree up now?
Yeah. uh-huh.
Okay. Is it a fake one or is it a real
It's a
one?
fake one
Okay.
because we wanted to be a little bit better for the environment and not kill real trees every.
Yeah, there's like
every year.
big debates actually of like which
What's
one's
better,
better.
yeah.
Yeah, because like
I like the idea of renting your Christmas tree
Yes.
though. I think that's really cool.
I also like people that have Christmas trees in pots. Where
Yeah,
like is that what
exactly.
you mean?
Yeah,
Or-
because you can rent a Christmas tree where it's potted and then they'll replant
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then once it grows past a normal Christmas tree size, they'll plant it in a
Yeah.
forest or take it where.
yeah,
wherever
but
it
that's
needs to go.
definitely not the most common yet.
But we didn't.
Well, yeah. Did you answer the question?
No.
Like, what do you prefer?
I think we have to explain kind of what the differences
okay.
are between
Yeah. True.
American Christmas trees and German Christmas trees. I think German Christmas trees tend to be less full as far as the amount of branches are on the tree. And I think the styling or the decorating is different from, I think it's not just German, but Europeans versus Americans. And maybe Ben, you can comment on this too. But in my family, I'm talking really quickly. In my family, we always use like family decorations or like personalized ornaments that we'll put on the tree that you get at special occasions, or like my grandma would make some and give them to us. So it's a very family specific, personalized, memory filled tree each year. I mean, the tree is different. I grew up getting real trees, but the decorations or the ornaments are very family specific. Whereas my experience in Germany and in Europe from talking to friends is people tend to go for more of the aesthetic of a pretty tree rather than having too many personalized ornaments. But
Yeah, it depends. I definitely know people that also have the personalized ornaments.
Yeah.
But my family, as you said, we had more like the traditional like golden red is like in my family the thing. My aunt I think usually has like yellow
okay.
in there, but my immediate family, my parents, we always have golden red, and then we have like a golden string thing around it. But yeah, the
Garland?
denseness or density,
Yeah.
denseness isn't a word, is it?
Density. Yeah.
Of the trees definitely different. Americans like these like very full trees where there's no gaps
Yeah.
in between. Germans like to use the gaps between the branches to hang their stuff, but also, and I think this is also maybe why they're so different, in Germany it's still very common to have candles on
Yeah.
your tree.
Someone just asked that.
Yeah. And that's either real candles or fake candles, but the difference, even if it's Germans that use fake candles, it'll have a candle shape. And you need to have space to put those. And you need these like branches that kind of sit even, like horizontally, where you can put those candles on. Whereas like with this tree, there wouldn't really be a lot of spots where we could put that. But Americans don't really do that, or at least
No.
I never see that. Like Americans just have a light chain, like
Yeah,
just
like
little
just like
lights.
Christmas tree lights,
Yeah.
like fairy lights or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of Americans with candles on their tree. I'm sure back in the day it was a thing, but
I mean,
we
yeah,
see it as
that's where it came from
Yeah.
originally. Yeah.
but I think we see it as such a fire hazard that it just sounds crazy.
But that's
to-
why, like, a lot of I think the majority of Germans nowadays have
Fake.
electric candles.
electric.
My brain is really tired. I didn't sleep a lot. But still a lot of families have real candles, like my family, for example.
Yeah.
But then we don't light them a lot. We just light them on Christmas Eve for like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Usually while we sing or like while we toast. Like there's like a Christmassy moment basically where they're going to be on and we're going to be watching them closely. And there's like kind of an art behind it too. Like when we set up the Christmas tree, for every candle that we place, we're going to make sure that there's no branch right above it and stuff. So like you just make sure that everything
Yeah.
is safe. And like in my family, nothing has ever happened before, but you just watch closely. That's just part of it.
One more question.
Yeah.
And I think we can split it into two.
Mm-hmm.
What does a typical German Christmas meal look like?
Hold on, I just realized I didn't answer the question.
Yeah, which do you prefer?
Did we say
I didn't say which one I preferred
okay,
either.
let's do that and then we'll get back to that.
I prefer the American, just
Okay.
because it's what I grew up with.
And
But I think the European version is also very pretty,
Yeah.
aesthetically pleasing. But for me, Christmas is kind of having it a little, not sloppy, but not like this perfect tree. The imperfection is what I like.
Okay.
The tree itself it has to be perfect, but
Yeah.
the decorations can be a little, I don't want to say tacky, but
Over the top?
yeah,
or-
not even over
Or
the
what do you
top,
mean?
just not perfectly
Perfect.
aesthetic.
Okay, like our tree. But
Yes.
I knocked over the really big, nice golden one earlier.
But what do you prefer?
Honestly, I kind of prefer both. Like, I feel like both of them have advantages. And I mean, growing up, we always had real trees, and they were always the like more spatial. I had that problem earlier. Is it spacious?
Yeah.
Spacious ones. And I always kind of thought, okay, these American trees look a little like too much. But I also kind of like the aspect that you can put them up whenever, like after Thanksgiving, and they're not going to go bad if they're fake, which like a lot of American trees are fake. And you can reuse them, and like they're very decorative. And German trees are also very decorative, but they're very obviously a tree. And this, for example, it kind of looks like a tree, but it also kind of doesn't. Like we got it like covered in like a little bit of white too. So I honestly like both. Like I feel like when I'm in Germany, though, I couldn't have an American tree. That just wouldn't fit in for me. So, but here I'm totally fine with having this American fake tree with like with the big ornaments.
I
Like,
feel like I have to throw this in. So as for the Christmas carols, someone said that Grandma got ran over by a reindeer was their favorite, and I tend to agree.
is that an actual carol?
It's a good song, but I would not use the word carol to describe it.
That's not a carol.
No.
But yeah, okay. So back to that question. What does a typical German Christmas meal look like? I know that someone said carp, someone said Würstchen and potato salad.
Carb?
Carp is more of an Eastern Europe.
Carp.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean carbs? Yeah, of course we eat carbs.
No.
But I think carp, from my understanding, is that super German? I know it's more Eastern European.
Some Germans do eat fish on Christmas Eve because like for a lot of Germans, I don't know how many to be honest, but for some of us, the Christmas Eve meal will be very simple and like very like back to the roots, like literally just bratwurst and potato salad or something like that. And then other people go all out and have like a Christmas goose or like a duck or something like that. But I think the fish has like goes back to that, like the simpleness and like the religious, like we're refraining from eating meat and stuff like that, kind of like similar like Good Friday and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we talked about the traditional Christmas meals in one of our first episodes, like in the first year.
Yeah.
Or was that Thanksgiving? I don't remember. Or was it last year? Because I know we talked about
It's
Christmas
hard
at some
to keep
point.
track of it all.
Anyways, to keep it short, bratwurst and potato salad is very common, I know, in Germany. But then also, as I just said, goose or duck, I think, are pretty common. In my family, we always have raclette and fondue, which by fondue, we, in my family, mean the broth fondue, not
I've actually
the
never
cheese
done
fondue.
broth fondue.
We usually combine it because we're like, we celebrate with like 15 to 18 people or so. So we have like at least one raclette grill on the table and then two like fondue pots, and then you can kind of combine it. You can cook some in here, and then it's a fun thing. If you don't know what raclette is, it's like this little cooking station with like little pans that you can fill up with meats and different little
We had a
sides.
Christmas dinner for my Veggie, and we did a raclette evening.
Yeah. And then at the end you put cheese on top. And it's technically a Swiss thing. And I think technically raclette actually just refers to the cheese, like the raclette cheese. But the way that the term is used in Germany, raclette is like the full-on dish, like the type of like sitting down and having this grill, and not just the cheese when we talk about it. But yeah, that's what we have.
An American Christmas?
I don't even know. I was going to say, I think Christmas ham is kind of
That's what I've always heard, yeah.
the go-to.
And isn't it like somewhat similar to Thanksgiving food too? Or do people make...
I wouldn't say so.
It's for Easter. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I would agree.
Okay.
It's closer to Easter. I think...
I just
you
always
have
thought
ham.
that people have like their casseroles still and their green beans.
But
and
I feel
stuff,
like there's a very set menu for Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
And I think when it comes to Christmas, it can be changed a
Yeah.
lot more. At least in my family, I feel like Christmas Eve, which is obviously when you're having a Christmas dinner, was kind of different every year.
Okay.
I mean, I think there was always a ham component for the most part, but it wasn't like, oh, we're having the same thing every year.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would remember.
Yeah. I don't think like that's a thing that all German families do either. They
Yeah.
have the same thing every year.
But my big thing, in my family at least, and I think we're a little unique in this regard, we always had a Christmas brunch at my grandparents' place. My grandma would make what she called breakfast casserole, which is like a potato and cheese, and you can put ham in it as well, like a casserole. And that's what we would always have. That's what I associate with Christmas.
Okay.
But like I said, I think that's something specific to my family and not necessarily an American thing.
Does anyone have turkey on Christmas or no?
Maybe some people, but
my family has, but
Okay.
from what I'm seeing in the comments is that a lot of people are like this lady, Thanksgiving is turkey, Christmas is ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree with that statement.
But One more question for
Mhm.
Christmas.
'Kay.
Someone asked, stated basically that in the U.S. it's commonplace for people to decorate outside.
Yes.
Is that a common thing in Germany? If so, what are the differences in the decoration?
One of the reason I got so excited about this is I just had this conversation with one of my coworkers because I realized I asked him basically, are you from the city? Because he's from near Hamburg. I said, are you from the city or are you from the countryside? Because in the city, at least in Munich, I never see any, like in the streets, like city decorations sometimes. But in the US, it's such a thing.
The most thing that you'll see in the city is like people hanging like lit up stars in their windows.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
The reason I was asking, because I was wondering, in the countryside, do you guys decorate your houses like we do in the US? And he said he doesn't really think so. He said in his neighborhood there were a couple houses that were decorated, but it wasn't like a commonplace thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about this in a video recently too. It's definitely a thing to decorate outside, but like just very subtly. Like Germans do Christmas decorations in general. Like we just do them a little bit more subtly. Not a lot of colors either. It'll just be like warm lights, like just lights in general. It doesn't have to be like red or green or. So for example, in my neighborhood, my dad would always put up like a light chain around one of our outdoor I don't even know. It's one of those Nadelbäume. I don't know what kind of tree it is, but it's like an evergreen tree. And, you know, my neighbors would always have like these lit up reindeer. Oh, now my laptop is freaking out. These outdoor reindeer thingies in their yard. And then there were a couple houses in my neighborhood that went all out, like American style all out. But they were completely alone with it. It was two neighboring houses that were, I think, competing over it. But no, the US is definitely leading in this regard, and it's something that we talk about in Germany too. Like we will always look at like the TV stations will report about look at this crazy house in the US, like they have their Christmas lights performance, sing to music exactly, and you can go through this neighborhood and every house will look like from Disney World and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that the US is known for.
Someone just said that you can see American Christmas lights from space.
That's actually true.
But like I don't know how it was for you, Ben, or any other Americans who are listening right now, but that was such a part of my Christmas season was getting in the car. We would drive around the neighborhood and look at all of the lights.
I want to do that this year.
And what was really cool in one neighborhood, it was actually the neighborhood that my grandma lived in, I think, is they would take milk, like gallon jugs, and they would put candles in them, and they lined the entire street. And you could just drive around, and like the entire street or all of the streets in the neighborhood were lined with candles. It was really, really
cool.
pretty.
Just really quick, there's a guy in my hometown.
Yeah.
So many outdoor Christmas decorations that it was too much for his own property. So he went to his neighbors and was like, let me put all my Christmas lights up and decorate your house. I'll pay your energy bill this month.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he does it every year now. And he does like 3 or 4
That's
more
too
houses.
much.
That's crazy.
Someone asked if I know Good King Wenceslas. Yes. That's a song that we learn in elementary school.
Okay.
There are a few more questions. How many more do you guys want to do?
Like a couple more, so not too much longer.
Okay.
Starting to get hungry.
I'm getting a little tired.
Yeah. It's a Glühwein.
Let's see here.
Should we do any of it in German?
Oh yeah, we can do one in German, the next one.
If you guys ask a question in German too, we can answer in German.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to put subtitles in for tomorrow,
that's okay,
but maybe we can add some later on and we'll just kind of summarize it in English. For those of you who don't speak German.
Also falls es jemanden gibt, der kein Englisch kann, aber ich glaube, da hört man nicht die ganze Zeit zu, wenn man das nicht versteht, könnt ihr gerne Fragen auf Deutsch stellen und wir werden die dann auch entsprechend auf Deutsch beantworten.
Wir können aber auch gerne eine englische Frage auf Deutsch beantworten. Okay, Ben, do you have one for us?
Oh, yeah, I'm still looking. I had a really good one.
Okay.
Your sweater. Is the ugly it's a beautiful sweater, by the way. But is the ugly Christmas sweater a American capitalist invention, or is that a thing that is also in Germany? Has it been picked up in Germany at all?
Yeah, a little. Has been picked up. In German. Oopsie.
Well, you'll hear the answer in a minute.
Okay.
This is a good chance for Ben to practice his German as well.
Answer in German first. Ich würde sagen...
Willst du die Frage nochmal auf Deutsch stellen?
Okay, also die Frage war, wie schaut's mit diesen ugly Christmas Sweatern aus? Ich weiß nicht, wie man hässliche Weihnachtspullis. Die sind halt so ein Ding hier in den USA, die man aus Spaß trägt oder halt, ja, einfach irgendwie zur Weihnachtsstimmung. Meiner ist jetzt irgendwie so ein Mix, finde ich, aus bisschen ugly, aber auch nicht so komplett
Besonders
ugly.
ugly würde ich, also komplett ugly würde ich das nicht bezeichnen.
Genau, ich habe den auch deswegen eigentlich gekauft, dass ich den auch so ein bisschen ernsthaft anziehen kann quasi. Ja. Aber auch so als ugly Christmas Sweater. Also, die sind eigentlich nicht wirklich ein Ding in Deutschland, würde ich sagen, aber ist schon ein bisschen aus den USA rübergeschwappt. Also Leute wissen, was das ist, oder zumindest junge Leute wissen, was das ist. Manche haben auch so einen, ich weiß jetzt auch nicht, ob es vielleicht schon solche ugly Christmas Sweater, Pubcraws oder sowas schon mal gab in Deutschland, kann schon sein.
Es kann sein, dass es sowas gibt. Ich weiß zumindest bei mir in der Firma, es ist irgendwie immer schwierig, das beurteilen zu können, weil es ist halt eine amerikanische Firma. Deswegen sind viele Sachen aus den USA dort schon angekommen, vielleicht bevor es bei den meisten Deutschen angekommen ist. Aber bei uns in der Arbeit haben wir sogar einen Ugly Sweater Contest gehabt.
Cool.
Ich habe persönlich nicht mitgemacht, beziehungsweise es war ein Contest. Wir haben halt zweimal im Monat einen Call, ein Meeting, und da hätte man die Möglichkeit gehabt, einen Ugly Sweater anzuziehen.
Also nur am Videocall oder was? Außer Alarm.
Ja, ist ein bisschen schwierig, weil es sind auch Leute aus Irland, die teilnehmen. Und ich glaube, es ist schon etwas, was die Deutschen kennen. Ja. Und einige machen mit. Aus Spaß, aber das ist kein ernstes Ding. Ich glaube,
ist jetzt auch nicht so, dass jeder so einen hat oder so. Also ich meine, auch nicht jeder Ami hat einen, aber ich glaube, viel mehr Amis haben so einen als jetzt Deutsche. Ja. Von daher, to summarize it in English, it's not like really a big thing in Germany, but it definitely has come over a little bit recently. So I think especially younger people know what ugly Christmas sweaters are, maybe even have one. Josh even said that his company did like an ugly Christmas sweater contest. That's a tongue twister.
Oh, that is hard. Ugly Christmas sweater contest, yeah.
But then again, he said it's an American company and they did it like on a team call with even people in Ireland. So it's kind of hard to judge it based off that. But I think that other companies probably do that too. I definitely think that it's something that's slowly coming over, and it gives people kind of an occasion for something like that, like a contest or a pub crawl or a funny photo, like a group photo or something like that. But it's not like every German has one at home.
Yeah. And there are other Christmas traditions that I didn't realize exist in Germany like they do in the US. Is it called Wichteln?
Wichteln.
Wichteln, yeah. It's like a white elephant, basically, right? Or is it slightly different?
I think you have to remind me, because I know that those are, I think, the same. But now, what are the rules of white elephant?
Oh gosh, normally it's like a
white. Do you say a white elephant or
a white elephant gift exchange? I think is like the. Okay. I don't know.
What are the rules of a white elephant gift exchange, Josh?
I haven't done one in a while. But normally, everyone has to bring one present, and then you put them in the middle. And they can be junk presents or really nice things. You put them in the middle, and then you draw numbers, and then you take turns getting to choose a present and open it. And then the person after you can either choose to steal your present or take a new one from the pile.
So I think that's the same thing. I do know Wichteln with a lot of different rules. It always depends. So like, I don't know if that one with the stealing exists, because I don't think I've ever done that part. But like what I've done before, for example, even in school, was like either it was pre-assigned. So like you would draw like a name from a hat. And so you would know who you're getting the present for, but the person didn't know where the present came from.
That's Secret Santa. It's different than...
than, we call that Wichteln too. But then I've also done the thing where it's like you bring the presents and then you draw a number. Then if it's junk, it's called Schrottwichteln in German. So yeah, I think there's like different ways to do it, but I would say it's more or less the same thing. Yeah.
The reason I brought it up was because we always had a white elephant gift exchange at work when I was working in the U.S. There was one guy who made moonshine
as a gift,
and it was so good, and everyone stole it when they had the opportunity to, but. Luckily, people were nice and shared a little bit at the end, but it's so good. It's so good.
That's crazy. It's still like one or two more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Whenever you are in Germany, Josh, is it Santa, the Weihnachtsmann, or
I mean, I almost never refer to the Christkind. I think it's a weird concept.
Okay. Oh, really?
Oh, now we're getting
I don't think
into
it's. I mean, a weird concept. It's like it's not Jesus who's bringing you. Like, who is this child? Like, I don't know. It's
Who's
just,
a Santa?
We're gonna start.
But I mean, like Santa.
It's like
the background to Santa makes more sense to me, just because
little.
it comes from an actual person.
Are you saying Jesus wasn't real? Oh,
Is Jesus supposed to be the Christkind?
kind of. It's kind
Then
of
why?
like a wild mix.
Then why are all of the the Christkind, for example, in Nuremberg, a girl?
It's like a wild mix of like, it used to be like, it originated in being like baby Jesus basically,
That would
but
make
then
sense.
it was like mixed with like an angel, and it was like an angel, and then that's how, like, I can't really explain it either. I've looked into it, but basically over time it just developed, and it's still weird because we call it Christkind and it's das Christkind. It's not die. It's like neutral, like gender in German, and we call it the Christ child, right?
Yeah.
So which refers to basically the Christ child,
Yeah.
obviously baby Jesus. But yeah, somehow over time it got mixed with like this angel figure. And so now basically the Christkind, when you refer to the Christkind that brings the presents, is usually pictured as, an angel with like blonde locks. But also you don't really, like, I know that they have the Christkind at the Nürnberger Christkind market, but the Christkind isn't pictured a whole lot, unlike Santa. Santa's pictured everywhere and always, but the Christkind is more something that people, like, kids have like a version of it in their heads, kind of. And so I think when I was a child, I had like this wild mix. It was kind of Jesus and kind of like, it was like a Jesus ghost or something like that, but like a magical one. So yeah, it definitely has some magic to it. I kind of like that it isn't this over commercialized thing. And also the way that the presents come is like, usually leave the room and then there's like this bell that rings and you never get to see the Christkind, of course, and that's what I said, that's part of it, like you never get to see it, like nobody's gonna come and dress up as it, and I like that.
It's just a weird thing that I'm not used to, so I think that's why I tend to use the Weihnachtsmann instead of Christkind, because it's the easiest.
Just for clarification for people that might not know, what's the difference between
Oh, Weihnachtsmann is what's the difference between Weihnachtsmann and Christkind? Weihnachtsmann is basically means Christmas man, which is the German version of Santa Claus. It's just Santa Claus. And the Christkind, so it kind of within Europe, there's like different regions. So in southern Germany and also Austria and I believe Switzerland and like Czech Republic and a few other countries, the Christkind brings the presents. But then in northern Germany, like middle North Germany and other countries like the Netherlands, in the Netherlands, it's not even really Santa Claus. It's like their own version of it. It's like more Saint Nick. But in northern Germany, it's the Weihnachtsmann that brings the presents. So kind of complicated. Another thing that honestly like plays a little bit into why the Weihnachtsmann doesn't always work quite as well in Germany is, I mean, let me know in the comments if you disagree, if you grew up with the Weihnachtsmann and it worked just well, but we don't really, like, not a lot of German houses have a fireplace, or at least not every German house. Like, some houses do, but it's not this, like, staple thing that every house has, and especially if you live in an apartment, you're not going to have a fireplace. So, yeah, that's just kind of, like, a part of the story that like, makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Like, so he can't always come through the chimney, and you can't really put your stockings up on, like, a fireplace. And I don't know if actually people in Germany do the stocking thing.
I was just about to ask that. Are stockings really even a thing in Germany?
That's a good question, because I mean, for me, no.
Yeah. But if you have
like,
the Weihnachtsmann.
I wonder. I don't think so, though, to be honest. I don't remember seeing that a lot. No.
One practical question that someone had for Josh specific is concerns days off. Being international in another country for Christmas. Yeah. How is it? Do you get more days off in Germany than you would here in the U.S.?
For Christmas itself?
Yeah, because I know that in Germany people usually get more days off.
Well, we also have two public holidays for Christmas. 25th and 26th are holidays.
Exactly. The 24th is technically not a holiday, right?
No,
it's like a half day.
It's not a holiday, but like most offices close halfway through, and most stores close around 2 p.m. Yeah. So yeah, kind of half.
I'm trying to remember if we even in the U.S. I think it's normal to get Christmas Eve off, right?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Automatic. In the government, you get like a week off.
Yeah. Okay, so see, then it's not that different, because I think in Germany, automatic 25th and 26th and like half of 24th. But most people, it depends on what brand or what, what's the word I'm looking for, Branche?
A branch? Or no, not branch.
No. Shit, I can't think of it.
No, industry.
Industry. What industry you work in? A lot of offices also kind of close completely, and everyone takes like 2 weeks of vacation over Christmas. But if it's like an industry where you can't do that, then you're not going to be doing that. But
other holidays around Christmas that you guys celebrate that we don't, like St. Nicholas time.
That's not an. Yeah,
you don't get off.
Don't get that
No.
Okay.
Is it the
January
6th?
1st. Oh yeah,
The 6th you get off
That's in
of January.
Bavaria. That's January 6th. Is Three Kings Day.
Yeah.
That's a Catholic holiday that we get off in Bavaria and some other states, I think, in Germany, but not all of Germany.
I think Baden-Württemberg as well. I think it's mostly the south.
And a personal question for myself.
Yes.
Which tree is better? The one in Marienplatz or the one in Cincinnati's Fountain Square?
I haven't seen the Fountain Square
Have
tree
you
this
even
year.
seen the Fountain Square tree this year?
It's really
Okay,
cool.
I've seen it in pictures too, but we haven't gone
It
by.
was flat last year and it was really depressing.
I remember
Yeah.
there was like a big scandal with the Cincinnati Christmas tree. It
Yeah.
just looked like junk, and then I think they had to fix it somehow. But
I mean, I like the Munich one better.
yeah, I like the Munich one.
I do too.
There's a whole. I mean, in Munich you have the whole. I don't know. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they're just so different. There's such different vibes.
Yeah.
Because I like the big. I mean, Cincinnati isn't a huge city, but like it's surrounded by the skyscrapers,
True.
and it's like the city feeling, as opposed to in Munich where it's a little bit. You're still in the city, but a quainter feeling with a Christmas market around it.
But the tree is usually really, really tall.
Yeah.
In Munich, and it just has like the warm white lights and doesn't have like the crazy colors.
And I like in Cincinnati that there's the ice rink right next to it too.
True.
Which
I
is a
think this
vibe.
year, don't they have the ice rink again at Stachus?
Yes, they
Have
do.
you been? Yeah,
I
to
didn't go. I
ice
didn't go
Salzburg?
skating, but yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't do that like the last however many years, like 2 years,
okay.
I guess, because COVID and stuff. And
Yeah.
that's always like such a magical place to go.
I was disappointed. This is off topic, and I think we're basically done answering questions at this point.
Yeah.
But I saw on Instagram that since it's been so cold in Munich, some of the rivers, or like the canal,
Oh, the Nymphenburg.
Yeah,
yeah,
was
that
frozen,
usually freezes and people go.
and
ice
people were
skating.
ice skating. I was like, oh, I wish I were there so I could go ice skating.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
hoping that in the English Garden, I don't know the name of the lake there, but the one that's Seehaus,
Yeah, I can't think of it.
in the northern part of the southern part of the English Garden.
I
I
can
hope it
only think
freezes
of the
over.
other lakes right now because there's like a Kesse or something, but that's like
don't
completely
know.
somewhere different. I can't think of it.
It doesn't
right now.
matter, but I hope that freezes over if it's not already frozen to be
Yeah.
able to go ice
Yeah.
skating this year. That's what's fun.
Here in Cincinnati, we're actually, I think I said that at the very beginning,
Yeah.
expecting like a blizzard type of situation, not just in Cincinnati, but like half of the US basically is going to have like record temperatures the next few days. So,
On Saturday, it's supposed to be negative 10 degrees Celsius.
okay. Oh, that's not actually that bad. I thought it was
but
like,
I think with wind chill, it might be different.
I thought it was like negative 20 or something. But it's going to be, I thought it was going to be negative Fahrenheit.
It is.
Or
negative
0
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
With the wind chill though.
Okay.
But talking about what you're talking about that freezing over, it happened one time in our parents' lifetime where the Ohio River
Yeah.
froze over.
And that's a big river.
my dad and his buddies at the time drove a car.
Yeah, my grandpa
across
did too. Yeah, I think.
because it was that frozen over.
Yeah.
And if it gets that cold again, we're going ice skating.
Okay. I hope that you guys could hear that because Ben doesn't have a microphone, but he said that one time the Ohio River froze over here in Cincinnati, and that's a big river.
Yeah.
And then his parents took like the car
Yeah.
across.
Well, my dad and his friends.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mom was not involved.
All right,
But
guys.
I think with that.
I think thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and thank you
Yes.
for bearing with us throughout this chaotic setup and everything. It was a first time thing. Also kind of like a last minute, like, we can't stream on this other YouTube channel. Now we're going
an
to stream
oh shit
here.
moment.
How are we going to do this? And it was a little bit stressful, but I'm very glad we did it. For those of you just listening to this episode as a normal episode, I hope it wasn't too chaotic, but it might have been like a nice change.
Yeah.
Change of
Something
things. Or how
different.
do you say, like a nice change of
pace.
pace?
That's what
exactly.
we would say. I was going to say, too, if you guys are... I mean, we're doing this, obviously, on Feli's channel, so Feli from Germany, but if this is your first time really interacting with the podcast at all and you're interested, make sure that you go over and check out Understanding Train Station on the YouTube channel and also on all of the streaming platforms that you have that you listen to other podcasts on or your music.
Yeah.
You should be able to find us everywhere. Again, the name of the podcast is Understanding Train Station.
And it
Just a
has
slight plug.
Nothing to do with train stations.
Yes.
And we sometimes have one-on-one episodes, or sometimes we have guests on. Like usually every few episodes we have guests on that are really, really interesting people.
Yeah.
So definitely recommend listening to those. And then sometimes we even do things like a Q&A episode, kind of like today, or the Dialect guesting episodes.
Yeah.
If you want to submit a recording for that too, you can do that as well on anchor.fm/understanding train station. I'm going to make sure that I link all that somewhere for you guys to find. Thank you guys for listening and for watching and being with us. And I think all that's left to say is Merry Christmas.
Frohe
And I guess
Weihnachten.
Happy
And
New Year, which in German you wouldn't say that. You would say
Happy Slide.
Happy Slide. We don't say Happy New Year until it's actually the new year. But we're not going to be doing another episode before 2023.
Yeah.
So.
So we'll see you guys on the flip side.
Yeah, we'll be back on I think the first or second Thursday in January. I'm not 100% positive right now, but we'll let you know in advance.